how many of us have these plans, these goals, but we struggle to commit to those plans because of the simple fact that we do not like change. We do not want to commit to change. So today we're going to talk about the Transtheoretical Model, also known as the stages of change. But before we dive right in, I need you to hit that like button, okay? Hit that like button and also subscribe so you can stay up to date on newly released content on a regular basis. So let's dive right in. Here's a history lesson. Prochaska and DiClemente created the Transtheoretical Model in the early 1970s, you feel me? And it was developed as a way to assess a person's likelihood to be able to commit to change, to see what place they were in relation to their desired goals. With me being in the substance abuse counseling space, I love utilizing this when it comes to my clients because oftentimes they'll come to treatment and they'll say, yes, I want to change, but when we start getting into the nitty-gritty of things, they just be like, I don't know. I really don't know. I love it because it helps give my clients language for what they're experiencing and why they're experiencing, right? So when it comes to stages of change, we understand that change is not linear, just like grief or even forgiveness. But like I mentioned, it helps to give us a better understanding of where the client is specifically in relation to their desire for change. All right, so the pre-contemplation stage is the first stage. During this stage, individuals are void of the awareness that there's even a problem, right? So they are oblivious. Everybody around them obviously knows that they got some issues or they have some things that they need to work on, but for them, they're in this place of like, nah fam, I'm good. I have been living my life this way for X amount of years, X amount of months, whatever. Y'all the problem, not me. Boom. And people in this stage come off as being in denial. They see no reason for change, so there is no intent on changing, and that can really frustrate the people around them. Now, the contemplation stage is the second stage, and in this stage, this is where their consciousness of the problem starts to rise. They start seeing that the cons are beginning to outweigh the pros, and they're starting to think, well, maybe this is something that I actually need to tend to. Like, this might not be the move anymore. I don't see why I should continue doing this. I don't see the benefits of being in this space. And so they start looking at the problem behavior as possibly becoming a problem, but they're not seeking any change. They're just thinking, okay, well, maybe I do have some issues that I need to address. Maybe. And in this stage, you can start seeing a perspective shift starting to take place. And the people around them are probably like, we've been telling you this all along. Like, what the heck is going on? But you know, we really can't force a person into change. We know that. I think that's the frustration of it all, right? So when you come across an individual with a problem behavior or something that's not really jiving with the ecosystem or the microcosm, right? People are super frustrated because they're trying to push them towards changing that behavior. But one thing that I really want to speak to for those individuals that are on the outside looking in, change really doesn't truly happen unless a person is fully committed to that. So all you can really do is provide some support, some guidance, some level of resources and to help them initiate the change. And once the momentum happens, you know, we can get the ball rolling. Speaking of getting the ball rolling, that leads us to the next stage, which is the preparation stage. And during this time, individuals are beginning to explore alternative options or alternative avenues to living, right? They're developing a plan. They're trying to figure out, okay, what can I do in replace of the problem behavior so that I can have a better quality of life. This stage is very important because this is the stage where we find people are at a place to decide that they are ready to commit to change. And once we get that plan in place, individuals are like, okay, all right, I think we got something here. I think I can make this happen. I think I can jive with the next best thing. Cool. During this time, it's very important for clinical staff and professionals to rally around this individual to help them develop a plan for the long term. So whether it's finding sober supportive housing, finding meetings, finding a sponsor, finding sober supportive employment, finding ways for them to have additional income, food stamps, community resources, local libraries, all of these different things, classes if they want to pursue higher education. Try to make sure that we are rallying around this individual so that they have literally no excuse for them to backtrack to that old behavior. And reminding them that you're going to be with them every step of the way, reminding them that it's okay. Change comes with uncertainty, and with uncertainty there's anxieties, feelings of being overwhelmed, feeling as though like I cannot do this. But if you have a solid plan, it's easier for that person to commit to that plan, and it also cuts out the BS and the justifications and all of the other excuses. Okay, and now that we've got our plan in place, we are entering into the action stage. And in the action stage, this requires a minimum of 6 months of consistently putting this plan into action, consistently implementing the plan and revising it as needed. Granted, we know that plans are put in place in order to create structure, but obviously life happens on life's terms, so we have to make sure that we're making the necessary adjustments in order for that person to be flexible as life happens. During the action stage, we also have to remind individuals progress over perfection. Yes, we have a plan in place, but understand that things happen and it's okay. Nothing's going to always go exactly as planned, but as long as you remain flexible and resilient, you'll be able to meet your goals as necessary. And then you'll find the individual like, boom, we out here, okay, we doing the doggone thing. Riding around and getting it is mine, I spend it, okay? Oh my gosh, dude, like kids still know that song. Like, I don't know, that's crazy. Just super proud of consistently putting in the work, consistently doing what works. Keep coming back because it works if you work it. All of those things, right? In the action phase, you're doing the doggone thing and you're being consistent and you're being integrous and you're putting in all of the effort that is necessary for you to achieve your goals. Exciting. And the last phase is the maintenance phase, which is 6 months or more of consistently keeping up with the newly adopted behavior. And in this phase, we are constantly replacing old habits and old behaviors with healthier alternatives. That way, we're making sure that we are maintaining our progress and doing what we need to do in order to stay committed to what our goal is, whether it's sobriety, recovery, healthy lifestyle, healthy living, healthy mindset, intentionality, whatever the case may be, you're still maintaining your commitment to those better options that you have chosen to do previously before. And during this phase, we gotta be careful because sometimes we'll get very complacent. We'll find ourselves in a place of like, hey, I got this. But we have to slow down and make sure that we're still holding ourselves accountable and treating this as if we are brand spanking new on the pavement. Yes, because you created this routine, you already know the vibes, you already are making your next move the best move, but don't get complacent. Find ways to continue to stretch yourself and grow. That way you are making your commitment something that is more of a lifestyle instead of something that's temporary. And really quickly, going back to the topic of complacency, a lot of times when we find ourselves in this groove, we begin to backslide into our old behaviors, which is known as a relapse. And relapse can happen at any phase, right? It can happen in between any phase. So we really have to be careful. We really have to be vigilant and understand that regardless of the circumstances, our sobriety, our recovery, our desire for better is top priority, because we really don't want to find ourselves returning back to old behaviors that we were trying to rectify in the beginning. And we could see this in like the types of relationships that we have, right? If we find ourselves being happy and more productive by ourselves, but then we get this feeling of loneliness and emptiness and we rush into like these very toxic relationships, that's super problematic. That's especially with your money and your spending, right? You got yourself out of debt. Now all of a sudden that you are debt free, you get to swiping your credit cards and now you're back in the same hole that you dug yourself out of. Or even with studying, right? You were ahead of the game, you were studying for your test, you were staying on top of your assignments, you took a week break off and now you are swamped, you're overwhelmed, you know? So be mindful that relapse can happen in any field, it can happen in any circumstance, it can happen in any situation, not just in substance abuse. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Legacy Speaks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and definitely stay connected via Legacy SBKS on everything. Until next time.